Yes. Good evening. Welcome to LoveLogical, DNA Not Required. This is Michelle L. Anderson, coming to you live from Podcast Detroit, Royal Oak Studios. We are looking forward to intriguing and entertaining you every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Let me start today's show by saying thank you for joining our family, which is biological by nature, LoveLogical by choice, DNA not required. Well, hello, everyone. This is Michelle Anderson coming to you tonight. And I wanted to say to everyone, I missed International Women's Day yesterday. I was running around working and being an international woman in any way that I possibly could. And to me, an international woman is someone who's just doing something that's for the overall good of this world. So we have a lot of international women. And today, March the 10th, is actually Women and Girls HIV AIDS Awareness Day. So I want to say thank you for tuning in because our goal today is to educate you so that you can get the information for yourself, for your wives, for your sisters, for your daughters, your nieces, and any other female that you know of because there's a lot going on in the world and women have to learn how to protect themselves. Yes, we know that men also need it, but today is about the women. And we're going to talk to you about how women can protect themselves. So I'm going to go around and let my guests introduce themselves and let you know who they are, what organization they're with. So we're going to start over here with Famika.
Hi, my name is Famika Edmond. I am an employee. I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Hi, my name is Famika Edmond. I work for the Detroit Health Department, but I'm not going to wear that hat tonight. I do have my own company. It's called the For the Love of Her, and that stands for Healing, Empowerment, and Resilience. And basically, it's a workshop that I do. It's a 5-week workshop in trying to empower women to be more aware about their sexual health and just other things that they may have going on. So that's a little bit about me.
Okay, so that's For the Love of Her.
Correct.
Okay, and give us what the acronym is.
Is healing,
Healing.
empowerment,
Okay, empowerment.
and resilience.
And resilience. Healing, empowerment, and resilience. I like that, For the Love of Her.
Thank you.
All right. So come on, introduce yourself.
Yes, my name is Deidre Diaz Smith of On My Detroit Everything, which is an initiative that celebrates citizens of Detroit. And being on your Detroit Everything means however you sow positively into the city of Detroit, be you a native or an import, you are on your Detroit Everything. Also, I'm the facilitator of Summits that Speak Your Mind, Mind Your Speech, and the Inclusion Cipher. We focus on the presence of you, and we also focus on the power of your words.
Okay, so being on Detroit Everything.
Yes.
All right. I'm a born and raised Detroit.
That's right. That means you're on your Detroit Everything.
I am. Check it out. Detroit family.
Hi, my name is Ayana Waters. I guess I'm wearing many hats tonight. C2P coordinator for Wayne State University, also a research nurse at Horizons Clinic under Wayne State University. And also I have a nonprofit, Wake Up, which is Warriors Achieving Knowledge, Education, Understanding Pathways, Purpose. And I'm just here to talk about Women's HIV/AIDS Awareness Day.
Okay. She's talking about she wears many hats. She has hats that like spin, and then she's got this neon sign that just continues as it's spinning. Cause many hats. Come on over here, introduce yourself. Pull the mic up to you a little bit. All right, thank you.
Alrighty. Hello, my name is Shanika. It's probably my tardiness for a minute.
That's all right.
I can say I wear many hats as well, just like Miss Jones and Miss Famika and Miss D. But my role is just a community advocate.
Okay.
Just sums it up as a whole, just a community advocate. And my passion for women and girls and for them to be aware about, STDs and STIs and prevention, just knowing your self-worth.
All right. Now I'm going to have you tell the audience what the SCs and SEIs are because, those things have changed through time.
Yes, they have.
Yes, they have. So what's the SCs and SEIs?
So STIs are sexually transmitted infections or sexually transmitted diseases. So my primary focus is HIV prevention and treatment and care.
Okay.
So just knowing your status, that's the biggest part. But when you don't know yourself, you don't know those questions to ask. So just starting off with the basic education and reducing the stigma around HIV prevention.
Okay. Now, we read in the paper every day that there's a lot of things that's moving forward in the world when it comes to HIV prevention, as far as like the PrEP pill, which has been around for many years now. I'm not going to say, it's been a few years.
Yeah, a few years.
But it's been around longer than what we've known about it within our community. Because I remember hearing about it, 4 years ago?
Yes.
About 4 years.
But the
ago.
commercials just started within the last year and a half?
Year and a half, but PrEP pill has been out since 2012.
Yeah, really?
Since 2012.
But I think a lot of that has to go towards who they were
Marketing
marketing that
to.
pill towards. I was saying, I feel a lot of that has to go towards who they were trying to market it for at the beginning. It was always marketed for the gay men. It wasn't marketed for women. And now they're trying to make it where it's now for the masses, so all of us should be taking it.
But it was also marketed more so in the affluent community.
Correct.
For many years before it came into middle class and lower class availability.
Caucasian, white MSM.
And you use an acronym. So what's MSM?
Men that have sex with men.
Okay. Yes. So we have to make sure that when we're using the acronyms, that we have to clarify for our audience exactly what it is that we're saying. Because a lot of people don't know, because everything has changed. Everything has changed. And when I say it's changed, everything has changed. Yes. So tell me a little bit about what we have that's going on this weekend.
Okay, so we have actually 2 events. There's an event on Friday through Planned Parenthood and Unified from 9 to 3 a.m. 3 p.m.
Like, that's a party.
party.
That's a party, a raid, everything else.
The location is going to be, help me out. Is it going to be at It's going to be at 3968 Mount Elliott Street in Detroit from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And it's free. Free STI, sexually transmitted infection testing and HIV testing, free PrEP screening, and free food provided.
Okay, so that's PrEP for her, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
PrEP, it's called PrEP for Love.
PrEP for Love.
PrEP for Love.
Okay.
And it's, let me get the correct who's doing it. Stand with Black Women, Planned Parenthood, and Unified HIV Health and Beyond.
Okay.
And that's Friday. And then on Saturday, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, along with Corktown and Wayne State University, we're having our annual Women's and Girls HIV/AIDS Awareness Day for the community. This will be the 7th year, and it's getting bigger and bigger. I'm part of the committee this year, so I'm excited. Another hat. And that's Saturday at Corktown Health Center, 1726 Howard Street, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And it's a free event. We're providing breakfast and lunch. You do have to register.
Okay.
And please register via Eventbrite. We may be closing soon because I heard today the number, we're at 100 now.
Oh, wow.
So
Congratulations.
we'll be closing soon. So just go on and, try to come out this Saturday.
My engineer has a comment.
You've been saying PrEP a few times, but I don't think you've
I was just
actually
getting ready to say that.
expanded
Yes.
that acronym
Yes,
yet.
I was just getting ready to say that. So who wants to explain what PrEP is?
I'm going to let the nurse explain it.
Okay, nurse.
Yeah, let the nurse do it. Little nurse.
It is a pill, which is Truvada, that you can, it's approved. Truvada is the pill that's approved for women. It's a preventive pill that you can take once a day to prevent HIV. There's 2 pills that's out. There's Truvada and Descovy, but approved for women, it is Truvada, and you can take it once a day to prevent HIV.
And PrEP stands for?
prophylactic
Pre-exposure
prophylactic exposure prevention.
Okay. So there's actually a pill that a lot of people still don't know about where your daughters and your sons can take. Truvada is for the females. And what's the other one that the males can take?
Descovy.
Descovy. Okay.
Now
Okay.
Truvada is approved
For both?
Just for females.
For
only,
females, yes.
But Descovy is approved for both, for
Okay.
male and female.
Okay, so Descovy is for both. And I know many people don't realize that this pill is available. You talk to your doctor, you can go to the health department, you go to Planned Parenthood. It is available for our youth. Well, it's for older adults too that are in open or multiple relationships, because we do have to protect ourselves. We do. And it's just like taking, for females, it's like taking a birth control pill. You're going to take it every day, Now, my question is, for you ladies, can we take it at the same time that the birth control pills are taken? Or does it have to be at different times a day? Because I know it's hard enough for young adults or young teens to remember to take their pill, let alone two. So can they take them together?
That I'm not really sure.
Nurse?
No, because that was a question I know somebody had brought up the last time I did a presentation. And right now, there hasn't been enough research.
They haven't really said like you can't take
Can't
it.
take them
you
together.
can't take it together. There's no saying that reactions that you can't take it together.
Okay.
So I would say yes, because there's no studies or research saying that you can't take birth control with Truvada.
I truly feel as if Truvada should be something that should be a standard on college campuses around the United States.
Or at least to have the option to
Have the
Have the
option.
option.
the
Have the
information.
option.
Right.
Yes.
Or know about it,
Know about
because
it.
like in this 2020, a lot of people still don't know that they have that option.
So when are we going to start going to college campuses to share this, nurse?
we had recently done some mock patient studies
Nice.
with the nursing students at Wayne State University.
Okay.
And unfortunately, a great number of them were very unfamiliar with PEP and PrEP.
Really?
You'd be
Absolutely.
surprised.
The nursing students at Wayne?
You would be surprised.
Okay, because to me, this is something that really needs to be broadly announced and well aware. I'm sure that there's enough available.
It is, but the problem is not being brought in part of their formal education. So if they're not bringing in, this was something we were able to do, the health department was able to come in and do, because we have a physician detailer, was able to come in and actually do this mock type health assessment to teach them about PrEP, and also to have those conversations with their patients.
Okay.
Because a lot of times they don't even know how to have the conversations and where to start.
Well, and two, a lot of primary physicians don't agree with PrEP, and they don't even discuss it. And that brings on a lot of issues. Sometimes they don't even offer you HIV tests. If they figure that you're married, or their actual risk factors, they just won't ask.
Right.
And see, but the thing is, there are too many women and men who are exposed to HIV because they've stepped outside of their marriage. They've had extra, curricular activity.
That was really nice.
The way you said it.
outside of their home or their relationship. And women are more susceptible to getting HIV than men are, to get it from a man, than a man is to get it from a woman. See, I listen, I learn a lot. I'm on the board of Wake Up and C2P. So I do listen. And the fact that married couples bring stuff home all the time, not just STIs. And, I remember back in the 80s, I remember the 80s, that when, they thought that it was only within the homosexual, same-sex loving, LGBTQ plus community. And they found out then that was when the whole down low thing became known, and it was like controversial because they were surprised how many people were morphing in and out of both communities and taking it home to their wives and to their husbands and things like that. So that's still happening, and it shouldn't be happening in 2020.
And I want to stress too. We were discussing this earlier. We have a lot of, I guess, young adults or adults that are perinatally infected, meaning that they were born with HIV and they're having unprotected sex. So we forget about, they figure if a woman gets infected with HIV, oh, he's on the down low, or he may have slept with a man. No, that's not necessarily. And then we're forgetting about the IV drug users as well. But we do need to stress that there are a lot of young adults and adults that were perinatally infected.
Yes.
And with the stigma, they're not, letting people know their status. And, that's the main thing of decreasing the stigma. You got to decrease the stigma and learn to talk about it, especially in the Black community.
Yes, especially. Now, let's talk about Detroit, Wayne County. Does anyone have the new statistics for Wayne County that's available?
You're looking at me right now. We don't have our numbers in. Our numbers usually do not come in until like July.
For 2019?
We're always a year behind.
Okay, so let's just revisit. Do you still know the statistics for 2018 for Wayne County? Because I remember last time when we talked about it, it's high.
It's high, but Wayne
can
County,
Google it
since
if you
that's
want
not
to.
my jurisdiction,
Okay.
I just focus on my jurisdiction, which is Detroit.
Okay,
Island
what's
Park, and
Detroit?
Hampton. Right now, our numbers are pretty high. In I want to say we had I'm just doing a ballpark estimate. Maybe about over 400 cases reported here. And that's not even including, because I also look at STIs too.
Yes.
So our STIs are very high as well. So it both are straddling together.
Are we looking at 400 cases this year?
This past year.
This year.
So that would have been for 2018.
Okay.
So at this point, hopefully our numbers have started going down because one, we do have a condom program in place, which should hopefully people are utilizing it. They are utilizing it.
Is that where they can get the condoms mailed to their home for free?
Correct. And we
Yes,
also,
there's a program like that. We'll talk about that later.
and we also do bulk orders. So anyone in the community that does any form of outreach, if they would like condoms, they can just call the health department, and we do bulk orders. Also,
I didn't know that.
Yes, we do.
What do you mean by bulk orders? I'm sorry.
So, for instance, if you do the hair
Hair for dents and things, yes.
and if you know kids might want condoms, we'll give you 200, 300, 400 condoms if that's what you need at your events.
Yes.
So we do that. We give out lubes. We now have finger cots. We just recently was able to get some female condoms in, which that is not even on the market. You have to get a script for that.
Yes, which I don't understand that.
Oh, because that is because
I had last year.
I stay my leg, but
Last year at one of our wake up events, I actually had a female condom live on my live Facebook page. I got a lot of information that came to me through IM, a lot of questions, because there are people I had never seen one before. There's a lot of people that's never seen them.
And because they haven't seen them and they haven't been taught to use them, they could be very intimidating for women to want to use them. If they're used right, because you can insert them 8 hours before having sex, it covers everything pretty much. So, and the only thing is if a woman does decide to use a female condom, they should not be using a condom also.
Okay.
Because of the friction. But
Okay.
We do provide that. We provide plenty of lube. I'm trying to think what else.
You said a finger cot.
Finger cots for your fingers because you do have sexually transmitted infections that can pass from skin to skin. So we also provide finger cots.
I'm going to ask you to put your little ones out of the room right now because I have questions. So I'm going to give you a minute. Hopefully you're not listening to this with your little ones, knowing what the conversation is today because, as I stated, this is an open conversation. So, okay.
So with the finger cots, I really stress that to are young girls that are same sex
Okay.
relationships, because if they're having sex and they're using their hands and stuff and they have any breaks in their hands
Nails,
or anything,
yes.
they can expose themselves to something or and vice versa.
Okay.
So definitely stress about the finger cots, dental dam. We give out dental dams as well. So if you do plan on doing oral sex, you want to make sure that you're creating a barrier between you and the other person. We do flavor condoms as well. So yeah.
Okay.
So we try to make sure anything that people might want, we got it to
That
give.
you have it.
Exactly.
That's good, though, because, the thing is, I understand that, that we have to, a lot of times we tell our kids that to abstain, abstinence and everything, but that's not always the reality.
No, it's not.
That may be the desire of a parent, but that may not be the reality of your child. And there are many parents out here who think that, no, my child's not active. My child doesn't have time to be active. Your child do not have to be active as far as intercourse is concerned. But there are times that children are out here active when it comes to oral. They're active when it comes to, I'll be nice about it. When it comes up to backing up to the rear, from the rear, there's a lot of things, and we want to think that we want to think our children are innocent, and they're not always innocent. And it's best to have a conversation with your child, just in case. Start talking to them, educate them, so when they do make that step, or even if they've made that step, you still want them to have the knowledge to be able to protect themselves.
And I also want to say, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
I wanted to say that being sexually active doesn't necessarily mean you've lost your innocence.
Correct.
One of the reasons why we have so many stigmas is because we don't have those communications. We don't have that open, honest dialogue. We can trace all the way back to the DL and bring it on back to the lack of communication between parent and child. And so because of those stigmas also, we find kids that will not take condoms even though we know they need them.
Because they're afraid to have them in the
because
house.
to have them
Yes.
means that I'm doing something.
Yes.
Even when I'm not.
Yes.
And to have you witness me carry it means that I've lost my virtue in some way. We need to get past the assumptions that sexual intercourse won't happen first and foremost with our young folk. And secondly, we need to let them know that it does not strip you of your virtue.
Being sex positive, I think, a lot of parents forget that they were their kids' age at one point, and you forget how your hormones were raging at that time.
Maybe they don't forget,
or
and
they
that's
don't
the
want
problem.
to, and they don't
They
want
know what they did.
and they don't want to realize that piece. I'm like, oh, I'm not ready for that, because I know a perfect example for my kids. When my daughter finally told me she was ready to be sexually active, I'm active. I almost passed out on the kitchen floor cooking dinner. I'm like, no, I ain't ready for that. No. So we're having that open dialogue because she is aware of my status. So having that open dialogue, from the start, being able to bridge that gap, I think that has been one of the biggest steps I've been able to do as a parent, help them have that conversation.
Now I'm going to ask you. You said your daughter's aware of your status. So you've been.
Yes, I am a
you're
woman.
positive.
Yes, I'm a woman living with HIV.
Okay. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
I mean, I can. Well, it'll be 15 years, September 14th.
Okay.
The unique about my experience living with HIV is I don't take medicine. I've been blessed to be diagnosed with this, but do not have to take medicine. I'm a strange case, is what they call it in the medical field. What they call an elite controller. What that means is my body is able to do what the medication is able to do. I don't ask no questions. I just leave it up to the man up above and my good genetics. So, but since my diagnosis, I just felt that I wasn't alone because, as Ayana said, those missed opportunities because of the doctor's perceived notions about your risk factors and do not want to ask those questions because they're not comfortable talking about sex. So it was a missed opportunity prior to me getting my test and my diagnosis. And when I asked for it at my time of my pregnancy, that's when it came back, oh, you're positive and pregnant. He walked out the door just as blatantly like that. So that was my charge to
The doctor?
The doctor. You're positive, you're pregnant, and walked out the door. No resources, no nothing. So that's what got me on my journey to being in this field and being an advocate and letting women know that you don't have to face this diagnosis alone. There is life after your diagnosis. And I was in a 2-year relationship, so that's what I stress the most to my women that I come across to. Just because you married, excuse my language, you don't carry that man's penis in your pocket like it's the American Express card. You do leave home without it. You do leave home without it.
I've never heard that, but I am. Can I
it's
use
true.
it?
Yes, you may.
Thank you
Yes, you
very
may.
much.
You do leave home without it. It is not your American Express card. It is not the black card. I'm sorry. You may think it's the black card, but it is not that black card. So,
Randy, I think I saw you smile on that one.
and I just think I was being blessed, being able to have the fortitude to be able to come out and be open about my status when a lot of women don't, and we have seen a lot of women die from isolation because of the stigma, that the social stigma that's related, and then they in turn internalize that stigma, which even worse, more damage. So just being out there and try to be that bright light for the other women.
See, I would think in today's world, if you're living with HIV, I think that you should be able to be open, because we're open about so much in today's world. And if every time I turn on the television, I turn on the radio, I just drive down the street and, you look at the billboards, everything is sex. Everything is
Everything.
sex.
This
Our
phone.
children are
Right.
our children are exposed to sex
On a daily.
basically from the time they're able to open up their eyes and see.
Especially when you go back and look at the cartoons, SpongeBob, which used to be my favorite. I had to stop having my kids watching it because of the sexual undertones that SpongeBob and Patrick be doing. I'm
Was it
like,
Ren and
Well,
Stimpy
Disney-
too?
and Ren and
Look, now
Stimpy,
you're going to have me going look at
Right.
SpongeBob, because I'm like,
Disney.
what?
Disney.
I
Yep.
mean,
Yeah.
it had a lot of sexual overtones.
So,
It did.
But this
But
goes
it's
back to
some
what you
things
were
that's
saying, though,
blatant
Michelle.
sex, though.
That we have to have these conversations.
Yes,
we
we
have
do.
to. We can't be acting like it's not going to happen. It's taboo. And I know growing up in a house, my mom did not really discuss about sex that much. She would push it up under the rug. Anything that dealt with sex, pray on it. That's not the answer, because
No.
you have too many kids. And before I came to Detroit Health Department, I was with Wayne, and I was a disease intervention specialist. So I used to have to do the surveillance list for both the HIV, chlamydia, and gonorrhea. We had kids as young as 11 years old. 11
With STIs.
with an STI, and some of them had both. I had a couple of kids, they ended up with gonorrhea and chlamydia at the same time. And then recently we had to go and speak with a group of kids because this particular school had
an
over
outbreak.
8 cases of kids that came up positive for HIV. So right there, these conversations have to happen.
They have to happen.
I know you can't say the school, but can you say if it was a middle school or high school?
High school.
Because a lot of people don't realize that there are children in middle school that actually are very sexually active as well.
Oh, yeah.
No, elementary
And
school.
well, elementary school, and I'm
yeah.
talking about not due to molestation or anything with an adult or pedophilia. I'm saying sexually active with each other. You know, and you
that's the
have
crowd.
children that have learned to have sex at home, because I know that there are children that's been entertainment for their parents and things like that. So we do have a lot of people in this world that's doing things that we're not aware of, but their children are bringing that to others. So if you're not talking to your kids at home, they're going to learn it from the kids at school. That's why you were saying your mother was closed off about sex.
And with me, I have 4 kids.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been open.
Yep,
Even
me
with my
too.
6-year-old,
Same here.
she, I want to say last year, had started coming to me asking about her body parts. And so we had a conversation, even sat down with this book that, I forgot the title of the book, but it basically put in a nice package of how to talk about her body parts and male's body parts. That way, too, if something ever happened to her, she's telling me what body part
Part
somebody
she
might have
popped up.
touched.
The American
Yeah.
American Girl series has a very good book like that. And I know there's a lot out here, but we need to talk to our kids. I was fortunate. I had a very progressive mother who was also blunt. When I say blunt, my mother was blunt.
We didn't have nicknames for anything in my house, and if anything, we used the street terms.
I was mad right there.
There were times that if someone else, when she was talking to somebody else's kid, then she used the biological terms, but with me, it was the street terms. My mother talked to me very openly when we would have remember the kitchen conversations that used to have back in the day? Kitchen conversations was with the children around when it came to talking about sex, and they were very open and honest. My mother introduced me to Donald Goines books. She introduced me to Iceberg Slim books at 13 years old. People say, why? Because my mother said, I want you to understand the thought process of a pimp so he can't get into your head. You know? So there were things there were books. There was this one comic book thing called Sex to 60. And it was all about jokes with people having sex and stuff like that. I was able to read it in the house. You know, we did have other children in the house. No, they weren't able to read it because they weren't her biological children. But she did talk about what was good sex, what was bad sex, and, you know, how you protect yourself. And a lot of our children nowadays, they don't even know what intimacy is. They don't know what passion is. They don't know what lovemaking is. They just know about what they hear in the music, which is slamming and all this other stuff. And I was just thinking today, I wonder if there's any statistics on how many songs come on the radio that's about some man being pleased sexually. And just in a row before there's something that comes on with no sex at all. Because when you listen to most of the songs, the men are talking about being pleased by the women, and the women are talking about pleasing the men. So that means that our young ladies don't know how to be pleased.
And that goes back to dealing in music.
Yeah. Yes.
And in a genre that's very male dominated. I find myself attempting to counteract a lot of that catering and one-sided narrative to sexual pleasure. When we do have our young women express themselves, the biggest thing we can do is open the floor for them to express themselves freely and sexually. Because a lot of times we want our young girls to be so chaste.
Yes.
That we don't want them to think about sex. We don't want them to talk about sex. And my mother wasn't the type to talk about sex with me extensively, but she got us in sex education programs. I was fascinated with sex very early on. I wasn't sexually intimate until I became a young adult. But I think because she gave me that freedom to learn about it.
Me too.
I wasn't so curious.
Yes.
I wasn't so eager to hit the streets and see what's going on. There was something about that liberty that actually kept me chaste, if that's what you want to call it. And I think that open dialogue needs to happen for women, not only in conversations, but also in music.
Yes.
We have to have women that are able to express not only the sex kitten, femme fatale, but the sensual woman. I have some more erotic pieces that are more sensual. And when I feel free to do that, I'll perform those pieces. And I find such freedom in expressing my femininity through those sensual pieces.
Love it.
And it's not limited to just ass shaking. It's not just limited to the pleasure of a man.
Right.
It's an actual fair exchange
of pleasure.
Of pleasure.
Because now I don't think that our young men truly know how to pleasure a woman
intellectually.
Intellectually. No.
Intellectually.
No.
Well,
I don't think they know.
They're on their phones all day and using social media, so in texting, so people really don't conversate like
the human
they used
disconnect.
To. It is a human
It
disconnect.
It is. They don't conversate, and they don't really know how to.
Scary.
And dating is not what it used to be.
No.
You know,
There's no more courting.
No.
My dad would say there's no
That's
more
true.
courting.
Yes, yes. And I want my daughter to be courted. I want her to know what it's like to feel special. I want her to know what it's like to feel loved. and respected and appreciated. And a good man does that. And it's like, but how many of them out here? How many of them are there out here for that 16 to 20-year-old who's really trying to learn how to date and how to be dated? I don't think there's a lot out here.
Nope.
You know, and then so many of our young ladies are, you know, they're contracting HIV because the guys are rolling off the condoms upon entry.
Stealthing. That's
Yeah.
what we call it.
Yeah.
Stealthing. That's a whole.
What do you
nother-
call it?
Stealthing.
Stealthing,
Which
yes.
Which is a form of rape. Which
Yeah.
you know, if they don't know about that,
But-
they don't. They
But a
won't-
lot of young ladies don't know.
And I wouldn't even say that. You know, I would say emotional. You know, they put themselves because they think they're in love when it's actually lust. Knowing the difference
Yes.
between lust and love, it can save you a whole lot of heartache and trouble and unwanted pregnancies and STIs.
and
sexually-
taking your time.
and taking your time, and that's when you can take your time. That means you know who you are as a woman, and you know what you will and won't accept.
Yes.
So that's what I say. Learning who you are, that can be your next step to healing.
That's what I tell my daughter. You know, one of the things back in the day, you know, you never tell a man that, oh yes, I don't sleep with anybody until I've known you 60 days, because he gonna wait you out those 60 days.
Right.
He already know. You don't tell him. You don't tell him, but you continue to say no, because nowadays I think that if you say no for 30 days, most of them they're going to go.
They're gonna go
They
because
gone.
they figure
gonna
there's
go.
gonna be
There's
somebody,
somebody else
down
waiting.
for them
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
gonna go ahead and drop their underwears for
A lot easier.
a lot easier, less conversation.
Who was the rapper recently that said that he was tired of seeing women twerk? Do you know who it was? Was it Meek Mill?
I don't
Who
even
you
know.
heard it. I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah, he was saying that he was tired of seeing women twerk, because women don't know how to dance anymore. Every time you go somewhere, these young girls are bent over
Butts
twerking.
up.
They in the strip
You know?
club without
Yep.
the strippers.
Right. You
On
know,
the-
it's
on the
like
phone.
everybody's
Right.
twerking, and it's like, why do you feel the need? There should be other modes of dancing other than twerking and hustling.
And there are, unfortunately, society gets a vice grip on one particular thing, and then we just propagate it all day, every day, along with the twerking.
Because
You got
so-
people making
social
exactly
media,
You
because
have- you
you've been
still
twerking
have-
for years. That's been out for
yeah.
years.
Well,
So
we used to shake. We used to have our shake back in the day.
What was it doing the
Doing the butt.
bump?
Doing the
butt.
butt.
Oh, doing the butt. Yeah,
When
there
you're
was-
younger,
there were people
popping
doing
it.
the butt.
And then you can
Yeah.
go back to the juke joints and
Yeah.
see them twerking at
The
John
twerk
Lee
isn't.
Hooker.
Yeah, the
But see,
twerk
after you
isn't
do all that,
new.
you turn back around,
But
and
you turn
still
around and
dance.
you still
Yeah.
dance. But they don't
Yeah.
really turn around too much
The
now.
Well,
only
my-
thing is we're nuanced people. We're multifaceted. We want to see different things. The problem is that once something catches on and it's lucrative, that's what we want to see. If black women's asses is lucrative enough, continue to do that for me. It was a time when they was sweet and had on the tennis skirt with a little anklet and everything, some K-Swiss, and that was sweet.
I can
They
see.
perpetuated that.
Look, I'm like, I didn't even get
Yeah,
that
that was
face.
But around those times, you had so many. You had such a diverse image in a broader spectrum of representation for women in the arts, right? Like you had Queen Latifah on one spectrum, then you had Roxanne Shante on the other side.
Yes.
Then you had Salt and Pepper right here. Then you might have Bahamadia right here. It's from consciousness to street and everything between the femme fatale to the righteous sister, if you want to call it that. All of these things were
Go on,
there.
sister.
But now, because the ass shaking is there and it's lucrative.
But that's all
Give me
that you
that.
see.
That
all that you
long
see.
hair,
And it
no
isn't
nails.
anything
See.
new. But unfortunately, it's the latest craze. It's
Right.
nothing new.
It's been going on too
Yeah, it's-
long.
It's the modern day
Since
Two
the
Live
beginning.
crew.
Yeah.
Modern day
Exactly.
Two
Yeah,
Live.
Two Live Crew.
Exactly.
Modern day
Yep.
Two
Freak
Live
Meat
crew.
in
Two
Atlanta.
Live Crew was, and the Two Live Crew was cool. But the why they were cool is because we had something to contrast that when we was ready to sit down.
They introduced it, but
Right.
it's just, I'm like, come on now. I don't even think that our young people, if they went to a dance, would know how to dance together.
Oh no, they don't. I think I went to a mother-daughter dance and mother-son dance. This was my kids were well younger, and it was sad to see some of the kids dancing separate from each other instead of with each other because the parents and the school officials didn't want to try to. First off, if you sexualize the kids' dance, you're wrong. I'm gonna need you to get out of there with your thoughts.
Right.
Yeah,
But
right.
that was the main fear. So when the kids get to dancing and they doing a normal kids dance, they emulate what they see. So a lot of the school officials that was chaperoning, no, stop that. So a lot of them kids just stopped dancing.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're at a kids dance and the girls are twerking,
No.
then I can see them wanting to stop
But they
that.
was-
That's why our children need to learn how to do something else so that they can learn how to dance together.
I mean, we have
and learn how
waltzing,
to
all of
enjoy
that,
each
all of
other.
those dancing lessons.
We
in
used to
school,
learn
how-
stuff like that in gym.
school. Yeah, in gym.
Yeah, we learned it in gym.
Had the sock hop. Bring
Sock
it
hop,
in,
yep.
can't good,
Yeah.
sock-
But I think
That
a lot
goes-
of those fun things need to come back for our kids, you
But
know?
unfortunately, because I have been sitting on PTA at my daughter's school, and it's these activities are not there anymore in the schools for the kids. Right now, a lot of the districts are just making sure these kids are passing and they're keeping their grades up so they can at least keep those Title IX funds coming in for that. As far as extracurriculum and different activities that we used to have in the school, they're just not there anymore.
They took
And
the funding away for
They
it.
did. They took the funding away. So, I mean, when we're able to get stuff in there for the kids, it's wonderful, but a lot of times we can't. A lot of times it has to be on a volunteer basis because we just don't have the funding to get it into the schools.
Well, we have so many nonprofit organizations in Detroit right now that we need to start working on bringing back some of these social things for our children so that they can learn. You know, our boys need to be able to learn how to slow dance with a young lady without being labeled as something other than the young man that he's being. You know, used to be we had more cotillions, we had different things, etiquette classes and stuff, so our kids could learn, you know, learn how to dress, learn how to do things. We have Nicole Beecher. She has a school that teaches etiquette for boys, for girls, Beecher International. She's right here in Detroit. And I've had her here on the show before. And maybe we can talk to her and see what we can do to promote it more within the within the state, because our children really need to learn how to do more
Engaging.
than just have sex.
Yeah, engage each other without engaging each other.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Because I think that that'll help them learn relationships. And I think that if they learn the true scope of a relationship, I think that that actually within itself would help when it comes to HIV rising and our young ladies learning just to value themselves.
Absolutely.
You know,
I agree.
because all they have to do is just say no and allow themselves to be courted, allow the right young man who develops an interest in them, you know, to prove it, you know. But anyone that says I love you and they've only known you for a week or less,
And
a
the red
month or
flags.
less,
Right.
like you say,
But also too, I totally agree with teaching them how to court. But unfortunately, we're in this day and time, and like I said, I see the numbers. We really need to stress, if you're going to have sex, protect yourself.
Protect yourself.
Exactly.
Protect
Wrap it
yourself.
up.
You know, when my kids were in high school or teenagers, I would just throw condoms on the table,
Man.
no questions, like
Here.
here, talk. So parents and women, because we're talking about women, we need to really learn how to communicate and talk to our kids and talk with one another.
Yes.
You know, it's
You wanna talk about the
just
workshop?
conversate and talk with one another. One another.
And I think,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, I was going to just piggyback on that and just talk a little bit about the workshop that me and Shanika facilitated. We started that, I want to say, a year and a half ago?
Year and a half ago.
So one of the reasons why it even came about, I had called her because I was like, I had received a call from a young lady's mom. The young lady had tried to commit suicide. It was her first time. She was 19, had intercourse, and ended up with herpes. Because she was shamed by her mom and a couple of other family members, she did try to resort to killing herself. Fortunately, she wasn't successful. I don't know how she got my card, but she did.
Mm-hmm.
And even though she wasn't in our jurisdiction, I still went out and I spoke with her. And one thing she did want to do was go to a workshop or some type of group that can be more empowering and uplifting, but be with women who look like her. So when I went to look for certain things, I could not find it. So then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just have to do something, because I said something got to give. So I got in touch with this one over here, and I was like, Shanika, how would you think about trying to work with? We get some workshops together and get out in the community and start working with Black women of all ages. So that's what we had started. We started small,
and now we're expanding. Now we're in the process of planning a overnight retreat. Just for the women, manicure, pedicures, things like that, make them feel good. But the whole gist of it, just to have created a safe space where women where they can heal, have that conversation, and be with women like them.
Okay. I love it.
So each week builds off of each other. So the first week we don't want to just hit them off. So we do empowerment and resilience the first week, and then the second week we go into either talk about HIV and sexual health, and then we'll dab into body imaging and self-esteem, because a lot of times. Sometimes we do make the wrong decisions because we just don't feel good about ourselves. So it's basically like peeling back the layers to find out what might be the root cause of why you might not be making the best decisions for yourself. And we talk about domestic violence. The last week, we go into leadership in us. So you know that you are a leader and that you can make sound decisions for yourself.
Where your workshops held?
Last one we had was at the Kofi Center, at the Ruth Ellis Center.
Okay.
It's the Kofi House, I'm sorry. That's their new, what is it, the Center for Lesbian Women. And then before that, we had it at Michigan State University on Woodward.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That sounds really good. I know we got to wrap up, so we're going to have to do a part 2. Because because this is great information. It's great information for our young ladies. And I know it's a lot of grown women out here that need this information because they're back out here.
Man.
They've gotten divorced, out of long-term relationships, and they're back out here not knowing and not understanding. So they need the information as well.
Yes, they do.
And our seniors, too.
And our seniors, too.
Yes. We don't talk about them, and their numbers
don't.
are just as high.
Yeah.
Please, I know, register. I'm sorry, Willie Mae. That's a monologue that I did. But please, 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 go on Eventbrite. Register for the event. I know that we're at 100, and there are still some openings. Ayana, you want to give them the Eventbrite name?
It would be under HIV Prevention Starts With Me, Women and Girls HIV and AIDS Awareness Day.
Okay, so HIV Prevention Starts With Me. I'm sure if you go on Eventbrite and you put in HIV awareness, it is going to pop up so that you can register. It is free. There's going to be a continental breakfast and a free lunch
and
that's
giveaways.
going to be served. There's going to be giveaways.
Yes.
Bring your youth. Bring yourself. Come and learn. There's going to be sessions that's going to happen throughout the day. I'm going to have these women give you their contact information quickly before we sign out. So we're going to start over here with Shaniqua.
My name is Shanika. You can find me on Facebook, Shanika L. Adams. My email is Hodges, H-O-D as in dog, G as in God, E-S. First name Shanika, C-H-U-N-N-I-K-A @gmail.com.
Okay.
And my name is Famika Edmond. You can find me on Facebook, Famika Edmond, Miss Ambitious. Also, my email address is Edmond, E-D-M-O-N-D, consult is all one word, C-O-N-S-U-L-T @yahoo.com.
Okay.
And my name is Deidre D.S. Smith of On My Detroit Everything. That is D-E-I-D-R-E, D-S-S-E-N-S-E, Smith, S-M-I-T-H on Facebook. Also, I am D-Essence on both Twitter and Instagram. That is D-S-S-E-N-S-E. And be sure to keep track of the initiative On My Detroit Everything and also the workshops entitled Both Simmons and Tick.
And I'm Ayana Waters, and you can find me on Facebook under Ayana Jones Waters. And also you can email me at wake, WAKE, Detroit @yahoo.com.
And I am Michelle Anderson. I'm sorry, go on.
Oh, go ahead.
And I am Michelle Anderson. Logging out, as I say here, we are a LoveLogical family. We are building a LoveLogical community. We are building a LoveLogical world where family, non-biological, is biological by nature, LoveLogical by choice, DNA not required, and everyone be kind.
Yes.
Peace.